Hi traders, welcome to the new week. It's interesting waiting until we've got the Monday morning European Open to see what this market wants to do. So we've got a good situation this week. I think this is a good opportunity this week on the DAX because we have a gap. We've gapped down from 125 area to, where is it? Gap to 12,100. So what I would expect ordinarily is I'd expect this to push back up and backfill, potentially overshoot, and then revert back to the trend, to the direction of the gap. So if you are trading this up for the upside for a gap fill, then try and get as low as you can and keep your stop out of trouble. Trade as you are potentially trading counter trend, then keep your position size relevant to the risk you're prepared to take and the money you're prepared to lose, which is something that we always need to consider, of course, that you know that, but it's well worth repeating. So that's my aim for this week, to see if we can get up to these resistance levels up here around about 150, maybe higher, and then see if we can get a move back to the trend. One thing we have at the end of this week is options expiry, so it tends to mean we gravitate towards the big round numbers. So we've got 12,500 up here, obviously very, very close to 12,000 now, and 11.5 lower. Last week's effort was pretty pathetic, really. Did nothing for a couple of days, pushed up the back end of the week, and here we are drifting lower again. So it's pretty pathetic. Here's the nice breakdown area. So we've had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3 way reversal. So we're pretty neutral here. If we close above 150, then we may stand a chance of pushing up to this resistance. Most likely scenario is to come back and test, like I said, to backfill, come back and test this trend line and potentially this main support down here at 11,700. Okay, so backfilling will be a great opportunity. Here we are dropping 20 pips in a matter of moments already. This is the 10-minute chart with the range on, with the first 10-minute range on, and we can't get out of this range at the moment. Narrowly broke underneath it, immediately closed back up. Just above the midline at the moment it's failing. So not a happy market at the moment. Let's look at the weekly. We closed outside of the Bollingers, closed back inside again. It's pretty pathetic. But let's at least see where we are on this range later in the day. But that's when you get a gap down like that, that's my strategy. Wait until, let them push it higher. Let them ideally break above the gap, and then let's see if we get some sell signals later in the day. Let's see if the Dow has done the same. So on the 10-minute chart, I've got a 10-minute chart just for basic support and resistance. So Friday's close was up here at 26,146. Very nice short into 4:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30 for 100 pips in 5 minutes. That shows you the extent of the market at the moment. I still don't think. I think this is rolling over. And what are the key issues? The key issues is this area here, this resistance. That's the sell signal there on Thursday. For my money, the 30th of August was a sell signal. Last week we ran into it, closed nice and high, closed high into it, broke above it, and then immediately here we are back underneath that barrier. So I'm going to mark that pink. to make sure I don't confuse it with my fibs. Even put a dotted line on it. Because I think if we cannot close above that this week, I think we could roll over, at least come and see these trend lines, and potentially come all the way down to 25,000. Close above 26,150, and then we could be heading for the highs. But we're above the 20-day average, so case for the bulls. The dips last week were bought. If we close above that 140 I've got here, 142 I've actually marked up on that. Anyway, if we close above that area there, expect that to push higher. But it's a weak start, and I like markets that gap, because once they close they tend to revert back down to the decent trend. Other aspects of the market, here's the dollar on the dollar basket. Hitting the buffers up here, lower close, engulfed the previous week's bar, midterm elections, debt negotiations, internal debt negotiations, that is, to do with the financing of their public sector. That's all going on now. So a lot of issues, and this market, this dollar is very weak at the moment. The pound is picking up. The euro has had a good week last week. Let's look at the weekly on that one. That's higher. Not closed above the 20-day average, so that's not a good sign. We need to start pushing up through this 117. And we're currently 165 or 165 at the moment. So this is putting downward pressure on the DAX at the moment. So let's see what they do. Gap fill strategy for me at the moment. Let's see where that ends up. Pushing across, like silver's still closing lower. So we could still need to be very careful with the silver position. I am taking profits at this resistance level, 14.35. I started scaling out. Could so easily, anything you can see here, we consolidated, dropped, consolidated, dropped, consolidated, dropped. So we could do, guess what, consolidate and drop, as you know only too well. So this is the silver. Metals are really struggling. Let's look at copper. Yeah, copper's gap down. So these markets are struck gold. This 1200, we could mess around with 1200 for a bit, unless of course we close above 1200 significantly and they really start to push higher. But we are at the moment just shuffling backwards and forwards. What do I think is likely to happen? Well, let's refer to the weekly. I think it's a potentially inverted pin bar there with a very narrow range week. So I think the selling could be over. And I think we're due at least a bounce. At least a bounce. So I'm still going to hold on to some silver and see if that can push up. As we're speaking, the DAX has run into 75 and that's down to 55, looking lower. I'll talk about this, the way I've set this chart up, because I think you'll be interested. I am liking the way this is set up. And I'll talk about how I've done that tonight at round table. So that's all I've got for you at the moment. Let's have a look at the Asian markets. Okay, that's interesting. This was a very, very nice chart pattern on the Nikkei. 3 tests of this trend line. That's a very, very neat buying pattern there. This could really charge up. Data, we're fairly thin on the data. Let's look at China first before I go to the data. China's been very, very weak. We closed back under this 10,800 and this is toast. This is finished. Close above the 11,200 and we could bust up. I'll just extend that trend line. So we're in this little apex, so we're going to get some interesting moves coming up soon, I think. Interesting that the Nikkei is holding up. So look at the Nasdaq, that's always a really good bellwether for me. The close higher, we're outside of this little funnel. The higher closed last week, but we're basically very high. We're expensive. Next reporting season is around the corner, so path of least resistance, touch and go, but I still think these markets could be about to roll over. The last time we had a very, very nice gap strategy, I'll pull the chart pattern out of my chart library. Last time we had a decent gap down in the Dow was end of January. So that's why I'm on high alert for shorts at these highs. Okay, interesting times, and I will talk to you later on, and I'll see you in the room tonight. Bye for now.